So we're here in Limerick. I've got a guy that I've always been looking forward to interviewing, actually, Marcus Matthews from the Regional Internet Service Providers Association.
RISPA for short.
RISPA for short. We had a chance to meet up today at the Irish Wireless Convention, which is was here today in the Savoy Hotel in Limerick. Great turnout, Marcus.
Huge.
Fantastic event.
Yeah.
It's quite an influential event now in the world of the regional internet service providers. We've had an announcement yesterday. Great timing for this event. What is your opinion on the NBP and how is it going to impact on rural broadband in the medium and short term?
I think, the position RISPA was obviously very active in, raising awareness on broadband historically, access to broadband, rural communities. Regional ISPs have been around for the better part of 2 decades, delivering very good quality and reliable internet access. Obviously, when the broadband era came, they moved into that. They have been delivering 30 plus megs for years. It's always been available. I think when the NBP was envisaged, which is now 8 years ago, most people don't know that, broadband had just really come about, that 30 meg a second minimum, and wireless products were just arriving. And, they were really looking at this long term and trying to project. And at that stage in 2011, when the department were thinking about it and planning it, they were saying, well, look, fibre is really the only product that can kind of go to a gig. But what happened was during that procurement process, wireless products just exploded in their sort of advancements, and it really overtook the original research they did. So by the time they actually finished that research, we were already looking at 200 megabits a second. But because they'd finished that analysis, it was outside the scope.
So what we're saying here is that the process is so drawn out, it's so long that technology moves fast. It moves extremely fast. And this is something where we've just had a €3 billion state-funded effort, over €3 billion contract to be being signed. And how long is it going to take? And once it arrives, what is it going to look like? And who solves the problem between now and then?
Very good question. So, the way the contract is set up, it will take 7 years to roll out, to build out that infrastructure. So, they're basically saying you'll get it when you get it. It's going to target high density areas first. So actually, the people who really need it, who it was originally designed for, are going to be at the tail end of it. They're going to be at the end of that 7-year build-out period. So what's interesting is, who's going to fill that gap, as you say, and it's going to be, the same people that have always been addressing rural broadband. With the massive advancements in technology, those expansions now that regional ISPs are doing are getting bigger. They're coming faster. So really, we're looking at about 2 to 3 years for most of these trickier areas that are going to be at the tail end, that 6 and 7 year, to actually connect them first. So what's interesting is there'll be this crossing point in theory where NBP will be moving in with subscriptions, because obviously it's a wholesale network, which means there's going to be a retail on top of that. So you're probably going to end up paying around about €70 per month, which is quite a lot for a basic kind of broadband product, maybe 150 megabits per second, whereas regional ISPs at the moment can deliver that for 45 to 55 euro.
Right.
That's not going to change. So people in rural Ireland are going to kind of be looking at, well, I can get the same speed, better customer service, as in when I pick the phone up and I have a problem, I get a human within 20 seconds, versus a massive sort of state utility where they're paying a lot of money for the same product, and the complexities, and then the waiting around and all the other issues that tend to come about.
Well, we've seen as well, over that long period of time where they've been running tenders, and of course there was only one bidder at the end, and that was awarded, which is quite strange in the end, in some respects. But the service providers, the people that were delivering broadband in rural Ireland, have been the wireless operators. And that effectively, this entire process has sterilized investment. Would you think that?
It's completely and utterly caused it to stagnate. I know, personally, just quite a number of regional ISPs who were looking at doing expansions and said, well, hang on a second, if the NBP is going to roll out here, and I do this big expansion, which I'm financing myself, and I've put up, guarantees, and I've put my business on the line to sort of secure that capital to do that expansion. They were going, hang on a second, maybe I should wait. Maybe let's just see how this rollout goes.
Every business needs certainty, right? So, if there is an uncertainty, you kind of sit on your hands until you find certainty and not invest.
Very much so.
So, we're effectively could be looking into a widening of the digital divide because the private sector has now doesn't see that we've got state aid. It's quite an unfair advantage over the private sector when government money rolls in to roll out fibre. And you know what? Fibre is a fantastic asset.
Product.
It's a great product, but we've got to solve the practical issues around closing the digital divide and delivering broadband to people right now in a cost-effective way.
So I think what's interesting, and you say there, and obviously cost effectiveness is key. And sort of when RISPA looked around and we were saying, okay, look, we all agree fibre is a great product and we love it, and a lot of members do their own fibre builds. Most people don't know this. Most regional ISPs build their own fibre rings.
Right, okay.
They're very familiar with fibre. They resell fibre on say, for instance, Cyro. Very happy with it. But sort of every other country in the world, when it comes to rural communities, they're using modern, latest generation wireless technology because it's so cost effective, rapid deployment.
Right.
You can deliver it within a week to a whole community, multiple homes. Delivering the same quality product in terms of the same speed as that broadband connection that they would have got over the fibre, and delivering it at a very cost effective price point. So we're in a situation where ISPs are really, they're looking at this, they're saying, okay, we're going to continue to build fibre where that makes sense, but we're going to do our expansions in those rural communities using wireless where there's lower density, where we want to guarantee the delivery of that same standard of product, which is how everyone else around the world has done it. There's plenty of other countries that have looked at doing 100% fibre, went through a procurement process, and through competent analysis concluded that this is not going to work. It's not financially cost effective.
It's very interesting because, often fibre is sold as the only show in town. As we said, it's a great product, but discounting and eliminating other technology out of the equation adds to unnecessary cost, and it also adds to unnecessary delays. We've seen, even just recent times, Tesla launching 60 satellites, I think only a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Are we going to get super fast broadband from the low Earth orbiting Tesla satellites well before fibre comes? Now, my kids will enjoy the fibre, but rural Ireland needs it quicker and in a shorter period of time than when they're 20, 30 years old or in 20 years time. So this is the thing with technology. It is accelerating. The usage levels are growing. People are consuming more video than they've ever consumed before. This is straining networks, things that were fit for purpose in the past and now are becoming outdated. But it's a very interesting argument that, given the right environment and the right circumstances, we could actually have a situation where existing private sector industry, in people involved in internet service provision in the private sector, could have delivered a large chunk of broadband and high-speed broadband in rural Ireland at a cost-effective way, much faster than a state-aided, taxpayer-funded event, where people are going to have to wait 7 years.
I think, very good point, and sort of evidence of that, and there's other countries that have done this. France is an example that looked at this and they said, right, we need a solution now, not several years down the road with a couple of billion euro. They said, okay, let's allocate a small amount of radio spectrum, part of the airwaves, to regional ISPs who commit to delivering high-speed rural broadband. So they allocated 40 megahertz in one of the bans to anyone who committed to doing that. And straight away, 2 million homes across really rural parts of France suddenly are now able to get high-speed broadband.
Right.
Didn't cost the French state anything. They didn't have to pay to build infrastructure. It's a simple application that an ISP fills out, and it's license protected.
Sure.
Works fantastically well. Scotland, they're pursuing it's called a consumer subvention program. So they're giving a grant voucher per household, which is technology agnostic. So, they say these are the standards you must meet to get this voucher as an ISP. The ISP comes in and says, okay, I reckon I can deliver, this housing estate using a fibre ring. I'm going to build that myself. This selection of homes over here, actually, it's more cost effective to deliver the same performance product using wireless. Works fantastically well. The grant voucher doesn't care. Once you make sure you deliver that quality broadband service at the specified speed, the technology is...
Yeah, I mean, this was it was also done in the UK. I think they were offering a broadband voucher as well to incentivise private sector. Marcus, it's a fascinating subject. There's so much yet to play, so much happening in the market. It's interesting to comment on it. I genuinely feel for the people that are looking for internet. Everyone should have internet. Everyone should have fast internet. But we've got to do this in a smart way. We've got to do this so that we don't indebt our children and our generations to come with onerous amounts of debt, and miss the boat on because time passes and time. So it's a difficult project. It's an interesting project. It is the future. I mean, it's oxygen now. Internet. So we all need it. As I say, Marcus, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for meeting us. As I say, a guy I wanted to interview for a while, and we look forward to maybe catching up with you later on in the project and see how things go.
Yeah,
thanks, Marcus.
Look forward to it.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks.